And first, I would like to take a moment of silence for Ron Forgale, who was a teacher, coach, legislator for Harrison County for a long time. So if you would please join me in a moment of silence. If you would join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And number one is public comment. Do we have anyone? Mr. Elko, John Elko.
Yes, we stand up.
Go over there and to the podium, please identify yourself for the record.
Hopefully all of you know who I am. I came here July 22nd, 2022, 2 years ago. Gave you a proposal. Once you look it over, I've heard nothing. I'm here again because the fire department's in a crisis mode. We are. I was advised by a legal counsel, you all need to quit doing this for free. Maybe they're right. But as looking at things, the city of Clarksburg have a $20 million budget, almost half of their budget goes forth to public service. Quoting the mayor of Bridgeport, 58% of their budget goes towards public safety. I tried to get information from the county here. I could get nothing from your office here as for information as to how much you spend. I know that you spend at least $450,000 a year to the fire departments. I don't think all of them take the monies, but there again, that's what you allocate out for public safety. I couldn't get nothing as for the sheriff's department or whatever goes for the emergency squad, if you do, but we need help. You know, I'm down to 6 people at the fire department. We had 2 fires in the past week. Thank God, nobody was hurt. We haven't lost no life as of yet. But this is a cry from me. I came to you before. We need help. You know, I feel, I don't know that it's the answer, but there is a program already working. I know the state's trying to work on a program, but I just was hoping that we could be on the forefront and try to get ahead of the game. You know, put something together to where we can take care of this. I cover 77 square miles for the southern part of the county. I have a high school. I have 2 grade schools, a middle school. I have a healthcare facility. I'm trying to do it with 6 people. I mean, I'm at a point, I'm 63 years old. I'm not done, but it's getting harder to do. And we need help. And that's why I'm here to ask. Mr. Hinkle, I believe you live in Bridgeport. You don't have to worry about it. You have fire protection. Susan, you live in Clarksburg. You have fire protection. Patsy, you live in Shinnston and you don't realize how bad it is in Shinnston. They're in the same position I am. I've just lost my ego. I'm willing to tell you, I need help. Come help me, please. We need to do something. The people out here deserve better. And that's where I'm at. I tried to get put on the agenda several times and to no avail I could. I don't know what's wrong with the system, but that's why I'm here today on a public comment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. Keith? think we have a design as well.
Morning.
Good morning.
Most of you know me. I'm Keith Marple from Johnstown. I'm also the delegate for the 69th district and West Virginia legislature, which includes, which item I want to speak about, the closing, future plans or whatever of the Quaddale CCC building and their museum that they have there. Many of you don't know the history of the CC camps. It's a Civilian Conservation Corps, which was established during the Depression by President Franklin Roosevelt to give out-of-work people jobs all across the United States. They built buildings, they built roads, they built bridges. They did a lot of things, and it gave people employment and kept people alive. Well, I'm opposed any closing or getting rid of the Quaddale buildings, the old Quaddale School and the old Quaddale Conservation Camp area. I've never been there, been by it many, many times. There's been a lot of events there. I just never had time to stop. The next time I do plan to go there, probably go there this afternoon if it's open. I understand they do have regular
Right,
hours.
there's the ladies to ask.
Okay. And I understand that they do need repairs. There is a fund that the state has that I have access to, and if I plan to get some money so they can get some repairs done on their building then. Got this last 2 years, I've got money for the Lost Creek Community Building to put a roof on. I've got money for the West Milford Community Building to help rebuild their kitchen. They had a fire and electrical system that's not good there. I've got money for that through the state, so it's available, and I plan to help them as best that I can. And I urge you to not vote to sell the building to developers to tear it down and use it for something else. We don't have many historical sites left in Harrison County, and this is a very important one, I think. As I read in the paper, they have visitors that come from many states just to visit that camp. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak publicly? Anyone on Zoom wish to speak publicly? Hearing none, we will move on to 10:05, special funding request from the Johnstown Community Educational Outreach Service requesting $3,000 for the Johnstown Fair to help with entertainment. Sure.
Well, this is our 70th year for the fair. And we appreciate all the grants in the past. We have increased it this year to a 2-day event because we have so many people there on Friday and we're like, we don't have any food. We don't have the tables open. So we decided to try and have a Friday evening with a band, and we're going to have flea market and a limited menu and see if that helps. We've run into bad luck the past few years, COVID. And then we had a big car show planned for last year and a tree fell across the road and they detoured to the Philippi car show and rain, and et cetera. So we're hoping this year to bring this event back to the profitable event that it was in the past. We've always been able to support our building with one fundraiser, and that's this one. And we appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Motion to approve $3,000 for the 2-day Johnstown Affair.
Motion to approve $3,000 for the Johnstown Fair for the 2-day event. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 2, consent agenda. What's the pleasure?
Motion to approve, please.
Motion to approve consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. We have no payroll change notices, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. At 10:10, we have a special funding request from United Hospital Center, United Health Foundation requesting $15,000 for a Safe Haven baby box.
Thank you. I am Laura Edgel. I work with groups and organizations in the community raising funds for our patients and their families at United Hospital Center. We are also committed not only to treat patients at our hospital, but to also treat and look out for the safety of our community and surrounding areas. We were approached a few months ago about installing a Safe Haven baby box. The Safe Haven baby box is a typically installed either in a hospital or a fire department for those moms in communities to anonymously and surrender a baby without any harm. So how the system works, it's a box kind of that looks like this on a building. The back of it is clear. It kind of looks like a safe. The mom or family member puts the baby in, the safe box immediately locks within 15 seconds. Within 30 seconds, 911 is called and the baby is then transported to the local hospital, which would be United Hospital Center. The back of the box is clear. So if we decided to install it, let's say in the fire department downtown, every time those firemen walk past that box, it's clear. They're gonna see something's in there, but obviously when the alarm goes off, they're gonna be notified. So we, as a hospital, we hope we never have to use this box, but we want the community to know that it is there and available if anyone would need it. Right now, as far as I know, there are only maybe 2 boxes in the state of West Virginia that I can confirm. There is one in Moundsville, which is pretty far from here. And the second one is in Morgantown. This spring, the Norwood Fire Station installed a baby box. So we're looking for a partner to team up with. We need the initial funding, which is $15,000. United Hospital Center will cover any additional costs that might arise from the installation. We will also cover, there is a maintenance fee every single year for 911 and any other fees that are involved. And we are committed to funding that. So thank you for your consideration. Are there any questions?
Do we have incidences locally?
I have not heard. We have not heard it. Now I know across the country, there is also an 800 number that is very prominent on the box. And they fielded over 9,000 calls last year from mothers. And we do know some of those calls came from the state of West Virginia. So as far as I know, in our community, and also the babies are also, when the box is in the, let's say it's in a fire department, some of the babies have also been surrendered directly into the fire department. They know it's a safe zone. They're not going to be prosecuted. And they're in that zone that they feel safe enough to be able to drop the baby off and knowing that it will be in good hands. And then the babies are put up for private adoption. So I haven't heard of any cases and I hope I don't of.
I just think it's sad we're here talking.
It is very sad, but it happens across the country. I mean, we see it on the news of common places, unfortunately, are dumpsters. Or just left out and taken to the woods. And we're a very rural community. And obviously we would never, ever want that to happen in our community. So we'd love to have one. Morgantown is intimidating. So if you go online and you search, where's the closest safe haven box? Morgantown can be intimidating to some people. So to have those moms have to drive to Morgantown, we would never want that for them to be intimidated if we have it right here in our own community. So that's kind of where we are.
Now I'll make a motion to approve it, and if it keeps one girl from knowing she can do something rather than have an abortion or leave a baby in the woods in the cold, I can't help but disappoint them.
Thank you. Thank you.
But if we do this, it'll make us the 4th St. Albans just did it.
Okay.
So
Great.
they're number three, we
Okay,
would be number
number four.
four.
Perfect.
I did research this, on a national. I think they decided it's more, just as important that it's available
Mhm.
versus actual use. And maybe sometimes it gets some people to think about before they abandon that child, so. I'm in full support, and I think the more that we can get them put in the state, just so people have that option, I think it's a very important thing.
Okay.
So,
you.
I
Thank you.
support, Mr. Treehouse motion.
Oh,
Okay,
Thank you.
all in favor, and it's the $15,000.
Mhm.
Motion was made. It's been called to question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you. Number 4, minutes and or amended minutes of previous meetings, A and B, July 24th and 31st of 24.
motion to approve A and B, please.
So Madam President, A is in the agenda packet and we're good to go on A. B, we've had some discussions and some corrections to it. I passed out right before the meeting. Has a little highlighted mark up at the top with the meeting minutes. John and I actually sat down and went over some things, and these are the ones that I would recommend approving.
She wants us to be amended. We approve all of A and the amended part of B.
That were presented this morning. Yes, please.
Okay. I'll change my motion, Madam President.
Okay, motion was made to approve
All of A.
A
And the
and, B that was presented this morning to the commission, correct?
Yep.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 5, requisition purchase orders invoices as shown on A, vendor list of payments. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved. It is in
Motion to approve number 5A, requisition list of payments, correct?
Mhm.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 6, exonerations and corrective tickets. Those are the only 2 we have, correct?
That is correct.
No joint property, okay. What's the pleasure for exonerations and corrective tickets under 6?
motion approved A and B.
Motion to approve number 6A and B. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 7, consideration of approval of project fund requisition for the payment of costs associated with the project to be financed from proceeds of Series 2019 bonds issued for the Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District Series 2021 A and B, Development District number 3, White Oak Project number 2, and Series 2008 A, Charles Point Project number 2, Northland Bay Improvements. We have A for $855.50. What's the pleasure?
Motion approved A for $855.55, please.
Motion to approve 7A for $855.50. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 8, review, discuss, consider future plans for the Quietdale CCC buildings. I asked that this be placed on the agenda from what I've been hearing and seeing. And I want to put this, I would like to see us put this to bed.
And Madam President, I admit that I am the one that would love to have seen it sold for development. However, with the passion that you all have shown, I just love it. And I see the same thing at Pine Bluff. I see the same thing at the community education building on Brushy Fork. And, you know, you see how we help everybody in the community. I'm gonna make the motion that we literally give it to your board and that we allocate the $10,000, that we allocate to everybody for everybody's roof and everything else to you all. And that we're hands off, but always there for you for any fundraiser, anytime you need us for anything.
Okay, the motion's been made to give the building to them.
literally. And then,
And
allocate $10,000 to give them a running start to repair the building and know that we're always here for them. As they've heard, we're here for everybody. And with Keith having my hands on so much money, I'm sure you're gonna be fine.
I don't believe we can do that.
We just need the Board of Education's approval. So upon the Board of
Okay,
Education's
well, we
approval.
got a motion.
But we have to add in that upon the Board of Education's approval. You have our blessing if they two agree, but you also have to get theirs.
I have another motion whenever you want me to make it.
Go ahead.
I have a motion that we do not sell the building, that Harrison County Commission retains it. And if need be, we'll lease it to the organization for $1 a year if that's allowed. And that we make the commitment that this commission made several years ago for the maintenance of that building. And work with state and federal and make it the shining star that we should have years ago. So my motion is to maintain and keep the building.
But I gotta do his motion first.
Mhm.
Okay. All in favor of Commissioner Treacost's motion signify by saying aye. All opposed?
No.
No. Okay, Commissioner Hinkle's motion is to retain the
Retain the
building. Any
Yes, ma'am.
discussion?
Discussion. Who's liable for the building, Madam President?
Commissioner?
So if somebody gets hurt, it's on us, we're responsible.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Number 9, review, discuss, consider approving contract with McKinley Architecture and Engineering for the Harrison County Animal Control Shelter.
Madam President, right before the meeting, I passed out the complete document of the agreement between us and McKinley, the contract, and Trey actually recommended that we add in there the West Virginia standards.
Yeah, the West Virginia supplemental terms to the four AIA agreements, they're designed to protect the public entities and to align the contract with West Virginia law.
And we spoke with McKinley, they were fine with adding that, so the new document you have in front of you is the contract with that supplement included.
Brad didn't have time to go over it, but how do they handle, if we go out to bid for this and it comes in over budget, we need to do a redesign? Is that something that we have to pay them extra for any redesign work that comes in over bid?
Yeah, I'm looking for the exact language, but yes, you have to pay them extra for redesign work if it comes in over bids. I think we have to do a change order within the form contract to do that.
Where's the? I guess what I'm looking at is I see like initial payment is 0. Page 22. Progress payments. So there's no money down to start it. Is that the way I understand it?
Correct, it's a professional services contract tied to milestones of the project.
And their projected cost for it that we're signing.
There's a term sheet with the rate schedule,
I saw that.
and that's all I saw in terms of projected cost sheet, just the hourly rates associated with the various levels of staff.
So we're paying them by the hour to design it.
Correct, and there is an estimate. Which is tied to the percentage value of the total project. That's 8% of the total. Project value. That's on page 20.
Saw that. Um.
I think you're doing what I just did. The anticipated budget in this agreement was $4 million for the project and 8% is 320,000.
Yeah, but I guess I'm trying to, all the ones I've ever been involved with has always had a cost and how that cost was broken down, and I'm just,
So the
what
cost,
the bid cost to be, what the final design cost, I mean, so basically, if it comes in at 2 million, we're only gonna pay them 8%.
correct,
Comes in at 5 million, we're gonna pay them 8% of 5 million. And that's of the fine, or whatever the construction cost is,
based on the construction cost,
which,
as broken down on page 21.
so, again, this is. If we ask for the estimator to estimate. Normally that goes out to a third party when they estimate these costs, so they're gonna do an in-house estimation. And that's still part of the 8%.
Well, the contract is based on the anticipated budget, but the real gist of this is to get them engaged, put the project out for bid, and that's gonna be bid by the estimators and construction companies to bid on the work.
Normally we get an estimation, so we know where we're at before we go out to bid.
Yeah, I haven't seen other than some general documents from them.
Cause I just tell you, Pierpont, we got an estimation and it came in way over what we could afford. We had to go back and relook at it. I'm just trying to, this is just a little different than I've seen. In all the projects that I've been involved with building.
Are you comparing apples to apples or apples to oranges in terms of the construction contract versus the engineer contract?
No, engineer. We have them do a cost estimate that normally runs us $15,000 to $30,000 so that we know exactly what they think the cost is gonna be.
Just haven't they given us a cost before?
They haven't actually.
No,
signed-
I mean,
Yeah.
not, but I mean, a rough,
They gave us an idea of
It's
the
just-
cost.
yeah.
But it's, believe me, an estimate, when you send it
Oh,
out to an
I
estimate,
understand,
yeah,
I
it's a
understand.
totally different,
It doesn't have to be on that size, I get,
yeah.
that's with anything,
And there are huge variances. As we know.
although this is on a bigger scale, exactly.
I guess I just don't understand why they couldn't have given us a price on what it costs to design. Instead of it just being 4% or whatever, because they're gonna be the determining factor what their final pay is.
Are you asking for us to come back with a fixed price for the design? Instead of a percentage, because you perceive that as sort of a conflict on the document space?
Yeah, I think it's hard for us to justify where we're gonna be at. we're either gonna be spending 300,000, 400,000, 250,000.
And the higher they are, the more they make.
Yeah. It's just kind of,
And I also think that also ties into, we're sort of in control where we could pick different materials, whether it's, this kind of block or using something else.
I mean, we
To
don't.
try to control those costs.
Yeah, we don't do this with any of the contracts that we've done with Thrasher, just to take an hour of rate, and just wait to see what it costs. They should have an idea what it costs to design this. How many hours are gonna have architect, engineer working, landscape architect. I mean, I get these in other contracts, but it's normally because it's a rate that exceeds what we asked them to do. If we go back and ask them, okay, we want you to do extra landscaping or something like that, we know it's gonna be at $145 an hour, but if we don't. We know that going in, but we know what our cost is going in, so we can budget. And I'm just trying to figure out how, when it shows their pay schedule on. What was it? 20% completion, and I forget what page that was on, but how do we determine that?
Page 21.
I mean, normally that would just be 20% of the set number, and. Are we guaranteeing them the $4 million cost? I guess that's the question.
I mean, we can go back and we can put a cap, if you are comfortable with a different cap. As the base, subject to change orders if they have to arise, and we can structure it different ways, Commissioner.
Well, I'm just on page 21, it says 20% of schematic design phase,
Correct.
20% of. The 8% of the 4 million.
That's the way it reads, yeah. The 20% of.
So they just picked $4 million, and that's what they're using
As a defining variable, yeah.
Well, that's what they said we picked, I think. We put in that we had a budget of 4 million.
I don't recall ever talking about that number.
Just saying this is just, to me, it's a little different than the ones that I've seen, because so no matter what, we're gonna pay them based on that $4 million. So why not just say it's,
But if it comes in less, then we're still paying on 4 million.
doesn't say that, I don't think.
That's what I'm just.
$6.6. Table this for a week to dive into this a little further.
So see, I seem to remember them presenting a schematic report, which was price breakdown.
What was the price breakdown of construction?
Construction, which is
But-
what should tie into this contract. The question I have is, does the board tie into the schematic which they presented?
Well, but the thing is, since then, we've brought up that they didn't include, when they gave us that schematic, they had a lot of open-ended, and we asked them to come back. They still have to come up with what kind of sewer system, generator, and other things that weren't in that original, they took out of that original pricing to us. They had 3 open items that they didn't include in their bidding just because they didn't have any idea.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, and we should look at those costs and include them. See the breakdown.
We can table it and have all that for next week. That's what everyone chooses.
I'm okay with that.
I'm all for going forward with this. It's just that this is just. I would just like a couple more days to absorb what's written here. So I make a motion to table it.
Motion's been made to table number 9, approving contract for McKinley Architecture. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. But hopefully we can have something.
Yeah, I think we get something worked out, Susan. We just
Okay.
need to sit down with them and look at that other and.
Okay. Number 10. Review, discuss, consider waiving 45-day waiting period for the Greater Harrison PSD water and sewer rates.
So last week in the meeting for the hearing, we have approved the water rate increases and the sewer rate increases for Greater Harrison. In that discussion, we talked about waiving the 45-day waiting period before they can start billing. So Greater Harrison has asked us to waive those 45 days. We did not take any action on that last week. We wanted to make sure that, we had time. People knew that that was being requested. And so it's back on the agenda this week for commission to vote.
So what's the pleasure on number 10?
Motion to waive 45 days.
Motion to waive the 45-day waiting period for Greater Harrison PSD water, sewer and sewer rates, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. We're waiving for both increases, and my question to Greater Harrison is one, why we're waiving it, and 2, does it have to be for both?
Again, we discussed that last week. Yes, we'd like to just proceed. We need a rate increase. Haven't been here since 2017 on sewer. But we presented that pretty well last week.
And if we don't waive the 45, how long do you have to wait? Just 45 days, so we're down to like 30 days.
Yeah.
So if we waive it today, the next billing cycle for you all is,
First Monday of the month.
so that would be September.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Motion carried. Number 11, review, discuss, consider allocating remaining funds from Harrison County Improvement Opportunity for fiscal year 2023-2024 to building the new animal control facility.
Madam President, that's last year's levy money. It totals $668,524. And this will take the project that you all are working on right now with McKinley up to an allocated $3 million. So we're doing our best right now not to have to borrow any money with the interest rates as being as what they are. So this building would be paid in full. And, once you guys build a building, I've heard numbers from 3 to 4. So wherever you fall in between, hope it's closer to 3. So, but it's exciting. And Matt, what's our next step once we get the McKinley agreement in place, Laura.
Once the McKinley agreement in place, then we will put out RFPs. McKinley will put out RFPs for us for the environmental, for the survey work to be done. We have to also get our flow testing back so we can start moving forward with all this.
Well, don't run in place, because movement and progress are two different things. Move forward with this as soon as David does his magic with McKinley next week and Susan. Let's get this approved and get those things done. I'd like to see it get started this year if it's possible.
Okay.
So my motion is to lateral move last year's carryover of 668,524 to the project.
Okay, the motion is to allocate the remaining funds as stated by Commissioner Treecost
From last fiscal year.
from last fiscal year to put towards the animal control facility, correct?
And
Okay.
closer to 3 to bed.
I know. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. 12, review, discuss, consider service agreement with Align HR to conduct an employee survey for all employees of the E911 to assess the following aspects typically associated with human resource practices. And am I required to read all those aspects or? I mean, I can, I don't have an issue.
Only if you want to keep us here.
Okay.
You can refile it.
Okay. Okay, so. What's pleasure? Or you want to explain?
Madam President, I'll explain quick. 911 dispatchers are a very essential part of the functions here in Harrison County. And it's important to know, we know what's going on out there. And I felt with an outside company coming in to do the survey and assessment, whether it's on communication, compensation, how much they like their job satisfaction, the work-life balance, we could get a clearer picture because all of them will take the survey, but it will be completely anonymous. Like I will not know who is answering what questions. I think it'll give us a better picture of what's going on out there. I think it's important so we can move forward with our 911 dispatchers and do what we can to retain the talent that we have.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you the question that was asked me. What's the cost of this?
It is 1,700. 1 second.
That's okay, if it's,
It's
you
like
didn't say
17
17,000, I can,
No, 1,700. I want to say it was $1,720. I'm sorry, 1,750.
okay. Probably already got that, but. So what's the pleasure on number 12?
Motion to approve service agreement with an HR.
Motion to approve the service agreement with Align HR. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 13, review, discuss, consider request to travel for Peggy Bailey for emergency management to go to the Emergency Management Conference in Flatwoods, West Virginia on September 9th, 10th, and 11th. What's pleasure?
Motion approved travel for Ms. Bailey.
Motion to approve travel for Miss Bailey. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
No.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 14, review, discuss, consider resolution for the approval and adoption of the hazard mitigation plan.
Madam President, the hazard mitigation plan is a regional plan that is put together by Region 6. They've done it for multiple counties in our region for years. They have updated it. We have to update this plan every couple years. And so it's a resolution signing off on that hazard mitigation plan.
And this is something we do every,
Every couple years, yes, Madam President.
Motion to approve the hazardous plan, please.
motion to approve the hazardous plan, approval and adoption of the hazardous mitigation.
Does she have to sign that?
I would
All three
say,
of us.
Go through, okay.
Yes, and
Yes.
the resolution for the hazardous mitigation plan.
And signature, Walker's signature and resolution.
Okay, the motion is to accept the resolution, approve the resolution for
It's hard to say.
the adoption of the hazard mitigation plan. How's that sound?
Perfect.
And affix appropriate signature. Okay. Any discussion?
Huh.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Oh, never mind. We already did that. Number 15, I, something else on my mind.
There are no budget revisions for 15.
Okay.
Oh, there's one other thing, Madam President. We do have that tabled item for Thrasher. And the work order. Is that something that we want, or the task order, is that something we want to take care of now?
Well, they've already given us the task order, so we can make the motion to remove it.
Well, I mean, you can pull it off the tabled items and approve the actual task
Right.
order. We never approved the task order since we didn't have it available.
Okay, so with the motion, Mr. Attorney, be to remove the tabled item, bring the tabled item to the floor and approve the task order.
Yes,
Okay,
and this task order relates to the parcels which are going to be necessary to connect the trail. Just to clarify, it's not related to the entire trail sections, but it's important that you all understand the cost, of what you're gonna have to take in, and the assessment.
So is your motion
to
bring
take it
5
to
from
the
the
floor
table to the floor?
and to approve the task order, please.
Motion is to bring number 5 off of the tabled items to the floor and approve the task order.
Mhm,
Any discussion?
mhm.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 16,
I don't have anything for administrators report today, Madam President.
Commissioner Treehouse.
Just one thing, next week, let's go ahead and put that on the agenda. Let's give them a $10,000 run and let's get their roof fixed and whatever it is that we move forward.
Oh, the CCC.
Yeah.
Okay,
Put it on the agenda for us to approve the $10,000. We do it for everybody, guys.
so I'll have them fill out a special funding
They have
request.
to, yeah. And we'll show you how to. That's all.
Okay.
While we're at the tabled items, can I ask about the estate hearing on number 3? Is that dead or alive? No pun there, but we're still waiting on that one. I mean, lighten things up, but
No pun there either.
yeah. So is number 3 still going?
I do not have an update unless John. might.
Can you bring
Okay.
us one next week? Dead or alive?
And the minutes from June 12th is on the tabled items for some reason.
I'll double check on those minutes. I
Okay,
think that they were done and
I'm just trying to clean up tabled items. Funding request, we still, did we give them any money?
I think you're still working on that,
You
right?
know about the museum?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just did to find out.
no, this is Clarksburg.
for all,
I'm
well,
tracking you, tracking with me right now. I just did.
this was for all the different
That's for
museums.
employee. We can give that money to them. They don't even need an employee. You can take that off the table item if you want to.
If you would like it on next week's agenda, I can list the different museums in the county and then you guys can have a discussion
Okay,
about those.
Yeah, you can take, I can bring that onto the floor right now and vote no, if you want me to.
no. And then I'd like a motion to remove tabled item number 1.
Somebody needs to remind me why it's on the table.
It's been since 23, I don't remember.
That's why I'm asking.
I don't know.
It was,
Must not have been important, if we've been that long.
it was questioned whether Thrasher was the engineer of record for the rail trail in the agreement, the master service agreement. It's been on there and forgotten about, so Commissioner Hinkle's motion to pull it off.
We've signed 15 contracts since then,
Yes,
task orders, I'm sorry. So,
As long as it's copacetic to bring it off of there.
Copacetic. That was pretty good. I tried.
so we need a vote on that, correct?
Both big enough.
Okay,
Motion to remove it from the table.
okay, David made the motion, correct?
yes, ma'am.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. So take number 1 and number 5 and check on 4, correct?
Yeah, and 3
And 3.
and 2. I thought we were gonna
Two will-
get rid of all of them today, but we didn't.
We'll bring 2 up next time, right? Correct.
Yep.
Okay. I have nothing. So
Motion adjourned.
motion to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carried.